Hello everybody, I am Sean, React to the K's channel arranger and host of Classical Composer Breaks Down the K. Normally Uma and I react to new releases together, but I am doing a solo reaction because we are on different sides of the country. And I wanted to react to this because I am a fan of Red Velvet. I think they have been really doing some of their best work in the last year with Power Up, and then RBB, which is such a distinctive and great song, and then Sappy, which is I think their best work and also one of the best pop songs ever. So they have been at the top of their game lately, and I'm very excited to hear what they do with Simsalabim. I have seen the special invitation. I heard a few seconds of the music and then muted it because I want to go into this essentially unspoiled on what it sounds like. I've watched the teaser, I have not listened to the teaser. I don't know what this sounds like. I assume it's Red Side, not Velvet Side, but beyond whatever guesses can be made from Red Side, I am going into this pretty well unspoiled. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that is not a synth I would have expected from Red Velvet.
Are you ready for this? Simsalabim!
Whoa. Bells, non-harmonic bells. Whoa! That is a very dirty bass for Red Velvet. Leading into some of the FX background. Okay, nice. SM chords. Flat 6. So I guess, was that the chorus that just happened? It's an odd post-chorus. I really like the sort of tonal void they put you in with the bells. Okay, I was not expecting a drop in a Red Velvet song. Nice. Some more Velvet Side chords. This is quite different from the other choruses. Wait, was that just the end of the bridge? No, this is outro now. Okay, that was a lot. That went in a lot of different directions. I think this succeeded in doing what they've been doing a bit with the last few comebacks, is combining bits of the Red and Velvet sides. I mean, overall, this is clearly more of a Red Side song, but the bridge, as with the bridge in RBB, is much more leaning Velvet. They're doing some things that I wouldn't expect. Like, I feel like, obviously Red Velvet is already a flexible group in that they can be anywhere on the sort of red to velvet spectrum, but there are certain things that I don't generally think of falling on that spectrum, like having an actual drop. That seems much more like, I think of FX obviously because of that being another SM group, but also there are a few other groups who have much more focus on drops, and I didn't expect that from a Red Velvet song, but I liked it being in there. The issue with bells is often rather than having a clear overtone structure, they just have various pitches that sound, but they don't fall into an overtone series, so it makes it a bit harder to perceive what sort of the pitch of the bell is. And so like, I'm sure there could be a sort of analysis of what those implied pitches were, but it's not natural. It's not so natural to hear with bells as with a lot of other timbres. Yeah, like it's a really interesting way of sort of destabilizing it harmonically with those, and then sort of locking it back in when the more sort of conventional synths come in. If I have a critique, it's that I think they may have leaned a little bit too heavily on rap for their group. This is something I think they've generally gotten a little bit better about with recent comebacks, is just recognizing like some groups work really well with larger rap sections because they have really strong rappers. Red Velvet, much more of Red Velvet's strength is in singing than in rapping, so they tend to work best with small amounts of rapping, not quite this much. Still, like there was interesting stuff happening around it too. Like it was not lazy composition around the rapping. Kind of want to watch it again because there's a lot in that song. 3, 2, 1.
Are you ready for this? Zimzalabim!
It's just like to have a bit of the snare drum, and then they had the visuals of the snare drum later. That's what actually the bass here is pretty similar to the drop. It just sort of doesn't register as much of a drop because it's sort of still moving forward with the singing and doesn't seem to just sort of land it.
Zimzalabim, 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 zimzim. Zimzalabim, 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 zimzim. Zimzalabim, 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 zimzim. Zimzalabim, 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 zimzim.
So I'm trying to figure out, is the zimzalabim, zimzalabim, is that the chorus itself or is that the post-chorus? This is part of the verse. It doesn't feel like it's building up to a chorus. But this might be the pre-chorus. Okay, yeah, and that pre-chorus was cut short. And then there's a drop, which yeah, like where do you even put this formally? Like, do you put this as post-chorus effectively, or is this taking the place, is it sort of technically part of the bridge? Okay, so yeah, this is a different, like the Zimzalabim is kind of rap, but they're doing a different chorus, or a different contour to it this time. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming together, like this is some of the very Red Side stuff, but also the very, sort of similar to the drop in the bass. Okay, so something I'm noticing more on a second listen is how this is something they were starting to play with a bit with RBB, is the sort of breakdown of the really clear pop song form. Like a lot of pop songs have a sort of standard form of like maybe intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, maybe pre-chorus, probably just last chorus, maybe outro. And RBB did follow that, but the sections were really blurred as to where one started and where one ended. Like you can figure it out, but it's not as immediately obvious as with a lot of pop songs. And I feel like this is doing a similar thing where it's a little bit hard, like because there are either extra sections stuck in or it's something doesn't sound quite conventional for a particular section, it's a little bit tricky to figure out quite where the boundaries of each section are, even though it's essentially following the standard form. So yeah, I think it's a good, solid comeback. I will also be filming a reaction to the full mini album, so watch for that. Also have a classical composer breaks down Decay on Red Velvet's Ice Cream Cake. Classical Composer Breaks Down Decay is a much more in-depth series where this is just sort of immediate reactions and thoughts. Classical Composer Breaks Down Decay is like scripted and edited with graphics to really explain a topic much more thoroughly. So if you want more Red Velvet, check out Classical Composer Breaks Down Decay on Ice Cream Cake. Thank you. Bye.